What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It's your boy, Pastor D, and I'm back with another video. Hey, if you haven't checked out part 1 of how God saved my life, be sure to go and do that. This is part 2. Let's get into it. All right, so fast forward. So after, I get off, probation or whatever like that, I've actually finally moved to New York, right? So I moved to New York and I'm living in New York for, I want to say, almost a year. I'm living in New York for almost a year, whatever like that. And New York in itself at this time, for me, it was very challenging. And the reason why I say it was very challenging is because, I was still trying to find myself, find my way, through life, right? Mind you, again, like I said, when I got out of high school, I started working in retail at Urban Outfitters. So I didn't really know what I wanted to do in my life. But anyways, when I moved to New York, I'm still trying to figure that out. And, I go through the time that I went through in New York, it was a really dark time for me, in New York. And so fast forward, something ended up happening to where I had to end up moving back home. So I ended up moving back home and moved back in with my mom. And when I went back, I ended up getting on my feet, got a job and everything like that. So I'm working, and I started to slowly but surely reconnect with my old friends and coworkers from Urban Outfitters, right? I'm working at a completely different place. But, I started hanging back out with, the group of people that I used to hang with all the time. And now the guy that I got in trouble with in the first video, again, be sure to go and check that out. The guy that I got in trouble with in the first video, now this time I get in trouble with his older brother. So I started, like I said, when I got back from New York, I started hanging it back out. And one night we had a kickback at one of my friend's house. And I had hit one of his brothers up because I think at the time now his younger brother was actually working at Urban Outfitters now. So I had hit him up or whatever like that. And he was going to come to the party. So he was going to ride with me to the party. So I ended up going to pick him up. We went to the party, whatever like that. So while we there at the party, he ended up calling his older brother and letting him know like, hey, yo, D back in town, like that. So anyways, me and his older brother connected and I started hanging out with him, right? And so at this time, I would go over his older brother's house and chill. We would smoke and everything like that. Watch sports, just chill and just like play ball, do all the stuff that we were like normally do. And so one day I go over there and I'm hanging out with them and we end up playing basketball. Now, let me take you back a little bit. My mom started warning me. Again, here comes the warning, right? My mom started warning me that she feels this setup. She feel like somebody is plotting to like set me up, right? And so I hear it, but again, being hard-headed, still, wanting to do what I wanted to do, still trying to fill them voids or whatever, right? I end up just pushing past it and steady going to hang out, right? So his older brother at this time, he had his own place. It was him, his girlfriend, and then a mutual friend. And so one day we end up linking and I end up driving over his crib. We end up going to play basketball. It was me, him, and then a mutual friend. We went to go and play basketball. So after we got done playing basketball and everything, I ended up driving back with the older brother. And then the mutual friend, end up driving back on his own, right? And so on our way back to his crib, we end up stopping to pick up some weed, right? And so when we get to the spot, pick up the weed or whatever, right? He called his plug. He come out, he serve us, right? And he talked to him for a little bit and then he goes into the house. Now, this is exactly how it happens, right? He comes out, he gives us the weed. We talk for a little bit. before we pull off, my homeboy, his older brother, basically, he goes in his center console in his car, right? And he goes in there and he picks up this black leather glove, just randomly, one black leather glove in there, right? He picks it up. He takes the weed we bought and he shoves it into the glove, into like the thumb part, right? So he shoves it into the glove, puts it back in there. And before we pull off, he looks at me, he like, hey, D. He starts smoking a cigarette. He looked at me, he like, hey, D. He was like, hey, man, can you drive because I don't have my license or whatever like that. And in case anything happened, blah, 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 whatever. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I ain't even thinking much of it. So I get out and I go into the driver's seat, and literally, this is exactly how it happens. I get in the car, put my seatbelt on, start the car up, take the joint out of the park, and go and put the joint in drive. Soon as I went to push my foot on the gas, out of nowhere, I didn't even get to move out of where we were parked. We were parallel parked, like right on the street on the curb. You know what I'm saying? I did not even get to move the car not 1 inch. Soon as I went to go and put my foot on the gas to go, whoop, 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 whoop. It was like, I want to say it was three cars plus a sheriff car. It was like 4 bicycle cops just came right from in front of us, boom, just came down the street, turning, or whatever, right? So I'm like, oh, snap. Like, yo, what in the world? So I put the car in park. One of the cops on the bike, like he's like right in front of the door at this point, right? They all surrounded us. They surrounded the car or whatever, blocked us in. And the one cop that's closest to the driver door, so I roll down the window and he's like, hey, what's up, fellas? Like, what are y'all doing or whatever? Like, what are y'all doing over here or whatever like that? So he's like, oh, no, we just visited a friend. We just came from playing basketball. We just came to say what's up to a friend, right? So he's like, the cop, you know, he's talking to us. He's asking the question that he's asking. So out of nowhere, he goes, where you guys headed? So I'm like, yeah, we about to just head back to his crib or whatever like that. And he's like, can you guys do me a favor and step out the car? He says, I have probable cause to search the vehicle. So I'm just like, for what? And he's just like, because he said I smell weed. And so, mind you, my homeboy smoking a cigarette. I'm like, how you smell weed? How you smell weed when he's clearly smoking a cigarette? So he goes, come on, fellas, get out the car. So they like, get out the car. We have probable cause to search the vehicle, right? So talking to my homeboy after all of this, he believed that they had a surveillance house across the street because they were watching that friend's house. So that's what he believed or whatever like that. So anyways, we get out the car. They don't handcuff us. We get out the car, and soon as I get out the car, the one cop goes in to search the car. He don't look nowhere else. I'm talking about the entire car. He don't look nowhere else. He goes right into that center console, pulls out the leather glove, pulls the weed from out of the glove, and he goes, what is this? I'm like, oh my God, bro. And all I can hear at that moment is my mom's voice and warning me about how God keep warning and sending this warning about a setup. There's a setup coming. There's a setup coming, right? And I'm like, God dang it, bro. Now, mind you, remember, I had just got off probation, probably like not too long ago from this. Moved to New York, like I said, for a little bit. The brother, he was on probation because it was just some stuff that he used to do at a job that he worked at. But anyways, he ended up going to jail, and he ended up getting out on good behavior, and he was on probation. And so anything, you know, if you're on probation, anything you do and you violate your parole, you automatically got to go back and finish out your time, right? So the cop, we out the car, he goes in, he goes right into the center console. He gets the glove, pulls the weed out, and he says, what is this? And I'm like, dang it. Okay, so now they cuff us. They put us in cuffs, and then they walk us both to the curb and tell us to have a seat on the curb, you know, while they search the car some more for any other thing, right? So I'm just sitting there, man, and I'm sitting there with my head hanging. I'm just like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, this is the second strike for sure. I'm going to jail now. I'm going to jail. And I'm like, dang it. And I'm just thinking to myself, because I literally had just made the decision in my mind. I'm like, look, I'm about to move to Georgia. I probably had like no more than a couple weeks to a month for me to leave Virginia at this time to move here to Georgia, right? And I originally came out here to Georgia to pursue like acting, right? And so I had called my aunt who was alive at the time, God rest her soul. But I called and I was talking to her, and I was telling her like, look, I want to move out there. I want to pursue acting out like that. And I was telling my mom and everything like that, right? And so I'm literally about to go and move to Georgia. But then this happens. And I'm sitting there, and all I could think about is just like, yeah, I'm about to go to jail. I ain't even about to be able to move yet. So we sitting there cuffed, and after the cops, they talk or whatever, they come over there and they asking us like, so whose is it? Or whatever like that. And, you know, we both doing I don't know. It ain't mine. I don't know. Right. So they go back, they walk away from us. They leave us there, and they continue to talk or whatever. And they, as they're talking to each other, and this, excuse me if I get emotional, but this gets me emotional every single time. But we sitting there, and it's just me and him. And he looks at me and he goes, hey, D, he said, look, he said, I'm going to take this. He said, it's my girl car. He was like, I got you. He said, this is me. He said, just go to Georgia and make something of your life. Pursue your dreams. And he said, if one day, he said, you make it big, just make me like a bodyguard or something, right? This was his exact words to me, right? But he looked and he said, but I got you. He said, I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this charge or whatever like that. Man, when I tell you that was nobody but God, when I tell you that was nobody but God, because he could have easily said, oh, it was yours, it was his, or he could have easily put that on me. And I'm just like, man, like when he said that, I said, you serious? He was like, yeah, bro. He said, go after your life, man. He said, go ahead, man. Move to Georgia. Just make me a bodyguard or something or whatever like that. I'm just like, oh my God, bro. That was literally, like I said, that was nobody but God. So anyways, they end up coming back over and they say, okay, so we're going to ask one more time. Whose is this? He said, it's mine. He was like, it's mine. And I'm just like, man. So they end up writing him a little citation. You know, they give him the citation so he can know when his court date is or whatever like that. They uncuff us, and then they basically let us go. And they leave. They leave. We leave. But of course that didn't stop us. So we end up going back right in that same house to pick up or whatever like that. But this time nothing happened. We were able to go and pick up again and then just go back to the crib and just smoke or whatever like that. But when I tell you, man, like any time in your life when you have made your mind up that you are going to go after your life, that you're going to pursue your goals, that you're going to pursue your dreams, what I want to encourage you with all of this is to get focused. Leave all of those things alone that will stop your progression, that will stop you from taking the steps that you need to take. It's not worth it. It's not worth you losing your life, your freedom. It's not worth you losing your progress, you know, just for you to have a moment. You get what I'm saying? A moment of feeling whatever it is that you're chasing or whatever it is that you wanting to feel in that moment, right? And like I said, for me, in those moments of my life, I was literally looking to fill voids and looking to find somewhere where I belong. You get what I'm saying? But I thank God. Again, like I said, when I look back on those moments, I don't look back and get mad or whatever like that. And a lot of times, and I thank God, but a lot of times I get emotional about that, because the truth of the matter is that God didn't have to spare my life. God didn't have to save my life. God didn't have to give me a second chance. You get what I'm saying? That time I was literally supposed to, if God would have allowed him to be like, oh, that's his, or allow the setup to go through, or whatever the case may be, I probably would have been the one going to jail. I probably would have been the one in trouble. You get what I'm saying? But because in that moment, and that goes to let you know too, that again, what Satan can deem for your bad, that God can turn it in a split second for your good. And it's not all the time that it's the enemy or that it's Satan. Sometimes it's just our poor choices and decisions. Sometimes even when we mean ourselves harm, God can still save us from ourselves. And that was one of the biggest lessons I learned from that. When I look back on that and I really think about that, it's like, yo, God really saved me from myself, because I was headed down the wrong path. I always found myself connecting, to guys that were either in the drug life or that was in the streets or whatever like that. And guess what? Because that's who my dad was, right? So that's what I was literally chasing. And because too, and here's another thing is what we have to be careful about is judging our parents. Judging our parents and what they've been through and what they went through in their lives, because the same thing you judge because you don't understand why your parents did something or why they didn't do something, those same things that you judge, those will be the same tests that you take. So I was literally walking that same path. You get what I'm saying? That my father walked, that my dad walked. You get what I'm saying? The only difference is that God gave me grace and he saved my life and he spared my life. Because even to sit here today and to be able to tell these testimonies, I'm not even supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be a free man. I'm not supposed to be alive. I wasn't supposed to make it out of things that I made it out of. I wasn't supposed to overcome those things. But it was nobody but God. And I'm so grateful for that. And I'm thankful for that. So I just wanted to encourage us with that, encourage y'all with that. And I appreciate, as always, y'all rocking with me, checking out my content, my videos and everything, my Bible studies and whatever it is that I put out. I appreciate y'all rocking with me, those that's rocking with me. And for those that will rock with me in the future, if you're new to the channel, welcome. You get what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I'm just here to inspire, to uplift, and to encourage. But God bless y'all. Man, stay encouraged. And again, go after your life and don't let nothing stand in your way. And the moment you make up your mind, when you make up your mind to go for it, go for it. And understand that there may be some obstacles that you may have to overcome. But you can overcome those obstacles because it's possible with God. But God bless y'all. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And share this video with somebody that y'all feel may need this. And until next time, God bless.
Walk it like I talk it, yeah, I walk it. Flowers never grow without some water.